digest. From lane to the new shining ground, echo chants where the legends are found. Heroes carved in the heart of time, we march on through grit and grime. Oh Tottenham, Tottenham till I die. Raise the banner, let it fly. Through the rain, through the fire, this is my club, my only desire. Oh Tottenham, Tottenham till I die. Raise the banner, let it fly. Through the rain, through the fire, this is my club, my only desire. Echoes of King and Greaves in the air. Every goal, the sound declares. Heartbeats pound like a drummer's song, marching forward, fierce and strong. We're the ones who rise in the clash. Numbers running in a white shirt dash. History burns in the roaring crowd. Every game we scream it loud. I'm Tottenham, Tottenham till I die. Raise the banner, let it fly. Through the rain, through the fire, this is my club, my only desire. We're the ones who rise in the clash. Numbers running in a white shirt dash. History burns in the roaring crowd. Every game we scream it loud. I'm Tottenham, Tottenham till I die. Raise the banner, let it fly. Through the rain, through the fire, this is my club, my only desire.
Yeah, don't worry, we're coming. We're coming. James, would you leave them people alone? Leave them girls alone. Leave them alone. Leave
Okay.
them alone. Yeah, we'll put them away. We'll tell them they can come next time. Pick up. I just feel mischievous tonight. I really do. I'm in that mischievous mood. Big up, guys, and welcome to THFC Till I Die, your home of Tottenham past present and our mighty future under this mighty cockerel of ours. I'm asking the question, did Levy miss a trick when it came to other managers? Because, look, I'll leave it up to you. I'll welcome James in first. We'll go through the chat, and then I'll get into the reason why I decided to do this stream. James, how are you, sir? Busy. I know you've been busy working, but how are you this evening?
I'm not too bad. I'm doing okay. Bit tired, but we'll get there. We'll soldier on. I've always got a bit of power and a bit of strength and a bit of energy left in me for the mighty, mighty Tottenham till we die side.
Are you keeping them all? Have you kept them all in order today? That's all we need.
I have. Yeah,
man.
definitely. Dished out a few whippings and.
Did you really? Good man. Good man. That's what I like to hear. Yeah, see, they're all Arsenal fans. That's what he's doing. The
That's
Tottenham
exactly
fans,
it.
yeah. The Spurs fans, he lets away with murder, and the Arsenal fans, he get back in there.
Kick them back in the cell.
Yeah. Big up to Wayne Bono. He says, good evening, everyone. Hope you're all well and had a good week. Yeah, we're having a good week. We're having a good week. We're getting nearly to game day. I'm not looking forward to Sunday, if I'm going to be totally honest with you. Seeing Liverpool win that league if they beat us. I just wish Crystal Palace would have done the job last night, actually. That would have taken the pressure out of us. But
yeah, and it would have been nice to see him beat the Gooners.
It would, yeah. It really would. Big up to Mr. Philip Brady. Me and Philip, of course, are on Saturday afternoon if you want to come and watch us on our political channel called Dermot's Political Democratic Rants, where we're talking about the border poll. There's a rumour going around there could be a border poll in Ireland to unite Ireland after nearly 1,000 years of being torn apart. So me and Philip are going to talk about that. We're going to explain why it came in, and we're going to talk everything politics, what's going on. So do join us at 5 o'clock on Saturday, if that's all right. I think I said 5 o'clock, so let me know if it's not, Philip. And pick up the Rainy. Levy always misses a trick. Players, managers, 24 years, and he still doesn't learn. And that's what got me thinking about this, James, right? I found out the other day that Ange Postecoglou has spent over 447 million on players. Now, that's just spending on players. Forget about, when you sell players and buy players and you take it. This is just on player buys alone. And it got me thinking, what about the previous 4 managers before Ange? Your Pochettinos, your Jose Mourinho's, Nuno for how short he was here, and Conte. And did Levy miss a trick when it came to Conte and Mourinho? And I'll start with you first. Has he missed a trick? Has he backed the wrong pony?
Me personally, I think so. Yeah, I think in a typical Daniel Levy style, he is what I always say. He does knee-jerk reactions to a series of results, a series of incidents. It's a knee-jerk reaction. The fans start to turn on him, so he pulls the trigger on the manager to take the limelight away from himself.
Yeah. He does, and it's happened again. It happened on the Pochettino. It happened on the Mourinho. Well, the Mourinho thing, I'd love to get in with you as well, because I don't think that was that. I think that had something to do with the Super League, if I'm being brutally honest.
Yeah, I think so too.
I've got my own opinions. I think on the Conte and then Ange came in. So look, I've got a few stats put together, a few PTFs. Just quickly we'll go through some transfer news first and their managers, the latest odds for the managers. Poch is actually at the moment 3-1 favorite to become the next Tottenham manager.
Yeah.
But these are the other people that are in the running. Let me take down our logo there for a minute. So you got Marco Silva at 7-1, you got Thomas Frank at 17-2, you got Endin Tazic, who's unattached at 10-1, Eddie Howe 14-1, and Eric Ten Hag, who's unattached at 14-1. Look, if Ange does move on, any of their managers grab you?
If I had to choose, if someone would say to me, you must choose your next manager out of these 5, I'd have to go with somebody like, and it might not be the popular choice, but I'd probably go with somebody like Howe. I think he sets up his teams very, very well. Wherever he goes, he sets up his teams very well. And he always seems to be able to take teams to that next step. And I think if he was, Newcastle is a big club. I'm not going to deny that Newcastle aren't a big club. And I think about what he's done there with Newcastle. Yes, they had a big influx of money because of their takeover. But I think he's done it very, very cleverly. And they've gone about their business, Newcastle, very, very sort of like ninja-ish or stealth-like. It's not been a big transition. It's been a gradual process since he's been there. And now, and again, could be second season in a row, they're pushing for Champions League football.
Yeah. I've got a little bit of... sorry, Jan, but I've got a little bit of rumoured here. Now, I don't know if it's true, but apparently one of us sort of said that there's a report out from people that when our CEO comes in, he's going to gut every single department. No one is safe at all. And buying our interest in talking to us for the permanent buy of Tel. And they look around 30-35 million. Now, look, I'm going to yet to get this sort of confirmed. So this is only a rumor.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting that you say that, Dermo, because I'll be completely honest with you. I have read, I can't say I've heard it directly, but I have read reports that are circulating regarding the Matisse Tell move,
Mm.
and that Bayern Munich don't see him as a first team player. They don't see him as a succession to basically be able to break their first team, and they are looking to shift him on a lot cheaper. Now, whether or not those rumours are including some kind of discount because they still owe us money from Harry Kane, and that's why the fee has been significantly reduced, or whether they see it as, okay, let's get this player off our books and let's just get a little bit of money in rather than try and get milking him for all he's worth, so to speak.
Yeah.
Because
go on.
By footballtransfermarket.com, if you actually look on there at his actual market value, his market value puts him around about the 30 million euros mark.
Actually, it does.
So I think probably Bayern Munich are just looking to try and maximise what they can get with putting minimum effort in. Because when you think about it, they only signed him for 12 million, I think it was, from Rennes just over a year ago. And if they can flip him and get him out the door to us for 30 million, that's an 18 million profit for doing very little work with him.
Yeah.
So I think that is a good strong possibility that that's what Bayern Munich are going to be looking at doing.
Look, I rather them just take the money and go for Harry Kane, to be honest with you. If there's a chance, and that's just me. Like I don't like Tell. I think Tell's a bit of a. I wouldn't say arrogant. I would say he's more. I'm trying to think of the word. He's more up his own backside, if you know what I mean. Is that so? I just don't like him. Just don't like him. Look, once I get that confirmed and properly confirmed, to more fact and rumor, we'll bring it to you, of course, and we'll go into it in depth as well. These are the other three: Jose Mourinho, Fenerbahce, 3-1. These are the laughable ones, really. Zinedine Zidane 40-1, and Cesc Fabregas at 50-1. Now, I've heard a rumor that Mourinho would come back to Tottenham if Daniel Levy wasn't there. I think you've heard the same rumor as well as I have. I know Wayne is saying Fabregas and Zidane, they are laughable. I'll put them in there for a laugh anyway because I couldn't believe 40-1. Stick a fiver on that. Jose, I like, but wouldn't be back again. But under new ownership, he probably would be. Wayne says Salva and Frank have had their bread buttered at Fulham and Brentford. Look, Mourinho for me, I'd have Mourinho back in the morning. I really would. But if it's out of all of them, I'm actually gonna. This is going to be controversial. What I'm going to say, and you thought you were controversial with Eddie Howe. I'm going for Eric Ten Hag.
Now I know before we got not Pochettino, before we got Postecoglou, we were looking at Eric Ten Hag as a possible manager.
Yeah.
I could see it happening.
Yeah. I don't want Poch back. I'm sorry. I'm in that camp. Why would you want Poch to come back? It's like it's here. We might as well start with him. This is now the first player. He got the job on the 27th of May 2014, was sacked on the 19th of November 2019. After 293 games, he won 159, drawn 62, lost 72. He had a 54.7 27 win percentage. But during his time at Tottenham, what's that? 4 years, 4 and a bit years at Tottenham? Would you say? Is it 4 or 5 years?
Just over 5 years, isn't it? So May to November. Yeah. So it's about 5 years, 4 months, give or take.
He spent on transfers. Now these money, right, is what is spent on players coming in, not transfers, not net spends or anything. This is
Yeah.
just spent money just to the people that are coming in. He spent a total of 323.9, nearly 324 million pounds
Yeah.
on transfers. So, and Levy did back him, but after then, that season, that 2019-2020 season, we spent no
Yes.
money.
Yes.
And we spent no money in the next 3 transfer windows. But I think it was
Yes.
the first 3 or the next 3. Every
It
manager,
was
he back?
winter summer winter one. It was winter summer winter, but so it would have been the winter window of 2019, the summer window of the 2021 season, and the winter window of the 2020 to 2021 season.
Now, if my memory serves me right, Steve Hitchen was director of football.
It was.
Was he backed? I don't think. This is the question out of every manager.
The way I would look at it, and the best way I think to sort of look at it from an objective point of view, and was he back? So you look at his total spend of just short, we'll call it 324 million over. So it's 5.5 years. It didn't reach the winter window of 2019. So we do the summer window of 2014, winter of 2014, summer of 2015, winter. So it's basically had roughly around about 9 transfer windows there.
Yeah.
And there you go. Boris has just worked it out for me. On average, he spent £64 million per season.
Yeah.
And to me, that's not backing a manager.
No.
Now, what we've also got to take into consideration, and me and you spoke about it very briefly up backstage, was the valuation of players, the different valuation of players. So 10 years ago, the player that would have cost you 20 or 30 million would in today's market probably cost you somewhere in the region of 40 to 60 million or 40. So you've got to consider the variations there as well. But I still think the 60 what was it that Boris said?
64, say 65 million if you're rounding it all up into a...
Yeah, if you're rounding it up. So, 65 million over per year is not backing a manager. Because even then, that's one decent player. That's one world-class player that you're trying to buy. And then as each year goes on and the transfer values go up, that value of each player, of the quality of each player, is slowly going. So as the money's sort of staying like this, the value, the quality of player is on the downward because you're not getting as much bang for your buck.
I mean, he did say we're building a house with no no furniture. I mean, that quote has come out and more than once under him.
Yes.
When you look at Pochettino in his time, yes, we got to many finals. Yes, we got to a Champions League final. But if you look at that spend in this whole tenure, is there any player that comes out to you that stands out to you thinking, do you know what? That was a good buy. I would think Dembele. Yeah. That I always get them mixed up.
Moussa Dembele. I think. I think. So the ones that would probably jump out at me, the ones that really stick in my mind for the Pochettino era would be Toby Alderweireld and Jan Vertonghen. They were the two to me that sort of really stuck in my mind, because what he did is he realised where our frailties were in our defence, and what he did is he bought in 2 top quality centre backs and basically put them together, and they were phenomenal. I mean, I look at them stats and 159 victories, 62 draws, and only 72 losses. I think any manager would be happy with them sort of numbers
Yeah,
at
but
the
he
end of
didn't
the
win us
tenure.
anything though. Didn't win
No,
us a
he didn't.
trophy.
He
And
didn't
that's
win us
why
a
I call him a
trophy.
loser. And people have a go at me for calling him a loser, but he is. He didn't win anything.
Yeah,
You know, you can sugarcoat it any way you like. You can.
Yeah.
You can say, "Oh, we got to a Champions League final." Yeah, did he win it? No. Well, then he lost. Look.
I
There
have
is
an
talk
opinion. I have an opinion on that Champions League final. I think the ref ruined that for us in the first 5 minutes when he gave that penalty away. Because
I think the ref.
it should never have been a penalty in my eyes, because
No.
his arm. Yes, his arm was extended, but basically his arm was extended because he was trying to tell his teammates to watch the runner.
Yeah.
And the ball came across from quite close range, and as he's trying to point, it hits his arm. I don't think it wasn't ball to hand. It wasn't hand to ball. It was ball to hand. But that's the letter of the law, so we got punished for it. But that
wasn't that the first match VAR was used in?
I think it might have been. I think it might have been.
I think let's down the chat. Eden Boris has gone. We just get through here. We supposed to be and Ronaldo was playing well. I know it's Saudi. He is playing well at the moment. So it's Messi in America, actually. The problem was Ten Hag. Look, I just think Ten Hag would be a better bet. Boris says Dele Alli, Dembele, Ericsson, and Lamela. Yeah, that's so true. Then we got wasn't Jan with us already when Poch? I think he was.
Was he? No, because he wasn't. Jan was with Poch, Southampton.
Only followed him to Tottenham,
but he was only on loan. If I remember, Jan was on loan at Southampton, and we got Poch, and we signed Jan, and then Poch came to us very close. It was the same window of like when Poch joined, Jan was joining as well, or he just joined. It wasn't like it was a season or a window difference.
No, it was very close. I think it was very tightly. Wayne goes, if Poch is a loser, so are the others. Anyone that doesn't win is a loser. So look, I'm not just picking on Pochettino. Look, on Poch coming back, it doesn't work for me. Going back doesn't work. But look, we both said that if Mourinho come available, Mourinho wanted to come back. Mourinho went back to Chelsea and won. But with Pochettino, I don't want him to spoil what he built at Tottenham, what he done. I don't want him to spoil that with coming back and it being a failure. I don't want him coming back and spoiling that. Yeah,
destroying his legacy.
But if he did come back and won something, that would cement his legacy. So
I suppose, absolutely. But do you think with the possibility of Poch coming back and the fact that look, when we got him from Southampton, he was a relatively unknown manager. And he's then went on to manage. He went to manage Chelsea, but he also managed Paris Saint-Germain, and he is now the American manager. So I think that he's probably matured as a manager and developed more of a resilience as a manager. So look, I agree, going back sometimes isn't the right thing to do, but sometimes if you think, I'm thinking about it in a overall view, and just like it was with like Wayne said about Mourinho coming back, would he be backed again? I think with new owners and Poch coming back, I think, and he gets backed, I think then it could take us to another level, but it might not. It might be an absolute catastrophe. He could come back. He could survive 6 months and be an absolute destroy his own legacy. So I understand where you're coming from on that front. But I would. He was one of my favourite managers. Him and Harry Redknapp have probably been one of my favourite more modern managers.
Yeah, I loved Harry. I loved Harry at Tottenham. I did. I mean, I'm a big Poch fan, but I just don't want him to come back and ruin this legacy that he built when he was with us. And I think coming back's not a good idea. If you had a choice between himself and Mourinho, look, I would take Mourinho.
Yeah, of course you would, because he's a serial winner.
Yeah.
And I think if he would have still been in the job at that Carabao Cup final, I think we'd have probably gone on to win that.
Yeah, and I think we would have kicked on from there.
Yeah.
Now, talking about him, here he is, the man himself. He was appointed on the 20th of November 2019. He lost his job on the 19th of April 2021. Look, we're going to talk about when he was sacked and go all through that. There's his record, which in 86 games, it's a pretty impressive record, by the way, as well.
Yeah.
But his total spend on players during 2019-21 in the season, and
so that's 3 windows.
Three
you've
windows.
got the winter window going into 2020, and then you've got the summer window of 2020, the winter window of 20. Oh, so actually 4 windows.
He had the 2019. Full window. Yeah, it is 4 windows.
Yeah, the winter window of 2019, the summer and winter of 2020, and the summer of 2021. Is that right?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
260 million pounds he spent, that Levy gave him to spend on players. Again, a world-class manager that's won everything where he's gone. The only blotch on his record book is Tottenham.
Yeah.
There seems to be a little bit of a line developing here. Why do you think he wasn't as backed? Like, I'm saying that I'm going to keep coming back to it. Why is he back in Ange but not back in Mourinho? Probably the greatest manager in our era, in this new era. Like, why do you think that?
So, I mean, doing quick maths, I might be wrong, and the chat can correct me if I'm wrong. I reckon that roughly equates to around about £65 million per window, which is a fraction over what Poch was given over such a longer period. So to me, I would say Mourinho was more backed than Pochettino, but he wasn't backed to the hilt. I don't think he was given half the money that he could have been given. I think if that would be 460 million, that would have shown a club that was in progression, not a club that's stagnating at 65 million.
Yeah.
And that's where I think the difference is. But I think that, I hate to say it, it's Levy being tight with purse strings.
Yeah.
And you've got to think of during that period, that's COVID. Right there.
Did that play a part in it as well, do you think?
I think it did.
You've got to take that into perspective as well, I think, on the Mourinho.
Yeah, I mean, I think COVID did play a part in it, and we were building the new stadium. I think ground had been broken on the new ground, or we were just about to start breaking ground on the new ground.
No, we're in the new stadium. Where Poch.
Oh yeah, we were in. Yeah, it was under Poch, wanted the Jesus Christ. It's like, where has time gone? Where's time gone? So yeah, we actually are in the new stadium, aren't we, at that point? So what you've got to think, we're deep in COVID. I think even though the FA and UEFA said allowed clubs to spend more, they gave them the permission to spend more because of the financial fair play and COVID, and said, look, we understand that you're not getting thingy, but you're also getting more revenue from TV. So yes, you can spend more, but you can't be ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think it was something in the region of 20 to 30% more debt you could accumulate. So I think Levy is just being very typical Daniel Levy and not wanting to spend money. And I think that when we got Mourinho, it was the perfect time for Levy to say, you know what, we've got a world-class manager here who's a serial winner. I'm going to give him the money to buy the players he needs to turn us into serial winners. And I just don't think he did it.
No, he didn't. And look, 200, I mean, Boris says 65 million a window, so a bit more than what Poch was given. So you can really say Mourinho and Pochettino are there or thereabouts together.
Yeah.
But look, his sacking, I still to this day think it's something to do with the Super League. I still think behind the scenes, there was a rumor going around, and it is never will be confirmed unless Mourinho puts it out in the book one day, or he puts it in his memoirs why he was sacked at Tottenham. I would love him to tell us why. I think he refused to take the players out onto the training pitch because of the Super League, or there was another rumor going around that Levy asked him to drop players for the cup final for Champions League football.
Yeah.
And he refused.
Yeah.
Out of the two, which do you think is a bit more realistic?
I think probably the Champions League. Don't play these players. Don't play these players because of the Champions League. And I think that goes against everything that Mourinho stands for. He would not. I mean, look, we all know what he's like as a manager and how he comes across in the press and things like that. I've watched the Amazon Prime documentary, which is really, really good, to be fair. I really enjoyed that.
It was. I want to ask you a question on that very quickly. Do you think it showed players in better life than some others? I mean, I remember Danny Rose walking away from the club with his boots behind his back. And I was saying to Cullum the other night, we were talking about that documentary, and I said to him, all they had to do, they should have been playing sad music when Danny Rose was leaving. Like, I mean, God love him. He was a bit deluded, thinking that I want to go and play for AC Milan in the event. Look, a very good player, Danny Rose. Don't get me wrong, a very good player, but he wasn't AC Milan or Juventus standard.
No.
Do you feel that documentary? Do you think that documentary was a Levy idea, and do you think Mourinho liked it, or do you think that was the start of the end of the relationship between Levy and Mourinho?
I think that it created tension between them. I don't think Mourinho would have wanted it. I don't think he would have wanted it at all. I think he would have wanted his dressing rooms, his meetings with the players, how he speaks and interacts with the players. I think that is quite a private thing. And don't get me wrong, it's interesting for fans to be able to look behind the scenes and see what thingy. But I think some of it would have been, I won't say staged, because staged is wrong, but I think Mourinho would have, even though he's not renowned for holding his own tongue, and I think there was flashes, but I probably think that he would have been coached and told by Levy that he cannot be just effing and jeffing and ranting and raving and everything like that. I think he would have probably been given instructions on how to behave around the cameras, and when the cameras aren't there, then he can behave how he wants.
I don't think he helped Dele Alli, by the way, out of that. I think Dele Alli was one of the ones that I think was hurt from that, because his career suffered because of the humiliation that he suffered under Mourinho when he said you're a lazy trainer, and and we didn't know
who are you? Are you Dele Alli or Dele Alli's shit brother? I think he said, or something along those lines.
Also, we all didn't know how much mental strain Dele Alli was under at that point either.
No,
and that was being laid bare on people's TV screens, that he was in the background suffering mentally really badly. And then you got a manager that was abusing that was abusing him.
Yeah,
Do you
it
know?
was.
And you look at it. 1 minute he's licking Harry Kane's backside. Next minute he's saying to Daniel Levy, "Oh, um, he's lazy. Oh, Man United told me to go and get him, Alex Ferguson." But Jose Mourinho's Jose Mourinho. He's a maverick. He's a unique individual.
Yeah,
So whatever you think of him, he's still a winner. He didn't win of
yeah.
us because of whatever. But again, another manager that wasn't backed. I mean, it seems to be like Levy doesn't want to back anyone bar Levy.
No,
I mean, his record is still for the 86 games is a decent record though, isn't it? And
yeah. It's a good. It's a
that's
good
in all
run.
competitions, by the way.
Yeah, it's a good run. It's a good run as a manager, and like I say, the positive goal difference, positive. Like I would always consider any manager that's hitting over 50% of his games is winning. Is to me is a positive thing. If you're below over 50%, then you bought. And when you're below 30%, and then you deserve to be sacked. But so I mean, I don't think he did anything wrong. I think what he probably did wrong was he told Daniel Levy, "No way, no how are you running this football club? If you want to run this football club and manage the team, you
Do it
sack me
yourself.
and
Yeah.
do it yourself." And then 4 days or 3 days before the Carabao Cup final, he's been sacked all of a sudden, and
I
that makes zero sense.
I still think it had something to do with something to do with the Super League. I'm sorry. I feel all the stick he was getting from the Super League to link us with that heap of shite. And then suddenly 4 days later, Tottenham sacked Jose Mourinho. Where's all the
Yeah,
attention gonna go? Off Daniel
yeah,
Levy onto the manager.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think it was a
exactly.
deliberate mood. I think he put that ahead of us winning the trophy. But but the very then this was the laughable search for a manager. I don't know how
Yeah,
many days it took us to get one, but we got Nuno. He didn't stay very long, bless him.
no.
He only, I think he was the worst backed of all. 95 million he spent on players, 17
But
games, 8 wins.
if you look at
Yeah,
that
go on.
as an average, though, Dermo, that's one
Mm.
transfer window, and he's been given 95 million. He
Yeah,
spent 95 million. But then you take into consideration how many players did he buy for that 95 million? Because I guarantee you it weren't one.
no. Um, I look. y- uh, I just don't get it with Nuno. He wasn't the right fit for us.
No.
I don't think Mourinho was the right fit for us either, to be fair. Um, but look, he stayed. There's no point talking about Nuno. He stayed. He got sacked after Man United. Then came in another winner,
Yeah.
Antonio Conte. He spent in one and a bit seasons, £198 million on transfer
Yeah.
fee on players. Now a lot of them was he came in that in there. Then in the January we got Bentancur for 19 million. He spent in his first season 19 million on Bentancur. Kulu was alone, but Kulu
Yeah.
we did not pay for Kulu to under Ange Postecoglou, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah. Which
So
is
that was
bizarre because it was an 18-month loan, wasn't it?
yeah, it was.
It was a 6 month because we got him in the winter, and then
Yeah.
it was six. It was basically 6 months, and then we
Mm.
extended it for a further year, and then we paid for him.
So
And I think that again was all to do with COVID and spreading the
yeah.
finances about and things like that, because that's the back end of COVID. That
I just want to pause here with Conte. I want to get back to the chat because there's been some good actually comments put in, so I want to get back to it. We got here. We are Spurs TV. It says we are the only Big Six team who tries to stay within FFP and BSR. Other clubs use autonomy such as bypass the laws. FFP, PSR is just another excuse for Levy to be cheap.
yeah,
Look, I got no problem sticking by the rules. But if you got other clubs like Man City that are breaking them, blatantly breaking them, then what's the point
yeah,
of sticking by them? I thought the whole idea of playing football and running a football club was to be successful, was to win championships, win cups. What? Look, we'll go back to the managers in a minute. I just want to get through these chats, some really good ones as well. But the question out of this one, right, and then I'll bring up some of the others. That is Daniel Levy. Is he a non-football? He says he's a football fan, which I don't believe he is. Is he an accountant trying to run football an accountant's way?
He's a businessman. He's a businessman who is about making money. That is it. He's a businessman who wants to make money, and he wants to and when you think about how when Enoch and Daniel Levy bought us over, they spent £40 million to buy our football club.
Yeah.
They are now looking to sell it for close to £3.5 billion.
Yeah.
You can't seriously tell me that the Joe Lewis Fund and Enoch and Daniel Levy are not sat there thinking, I have just, in 20 years, have just made a mint.
Yeah.
And I'm set now for the rest of my life because of what I've done with this football club. And I don't care who it's upset because I'm now minted.
Yeah. They came in 1991. A lot of people don't realise that. They were one of the consortium behind the Alan Sugar takeover.
Yeah.
They were in that. So for 10 years, they were buying shares off everyone with the idea. I mean, the bought Rangers, didn't they? They had clubs all over Europe.
Yeah.
As well. So, at the time, we weren't the only clubs they were involved in. But they decided, let's pick Tottenham. I wish they picked Man United, actually, or Rangers.
Yeah.
Somebody else than us. Look, Spurs says in today's society, so they just said that he had an attitude problem. Look, when it came to Mourinho and Levy's pick of managers, there's never really been a manager since Poch that you felt he was the right fit for the job. Mourinho was a relationship going to end in hell. Conte definitely was a relationship that was going to end in disaster. Ange Postecoglou, I think, was as much as I love Ange and I know what he did up at Celtic and blah 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 blah, but he wasn't the manager that was first picked. Arne Slot, Ten Hag, and they knew straight away we're not going to be backed here.
Yeah.
So let's go for Ange Postecoglou. Who's happy to be backed? How are I going to back him?
Yeah.
Do you feel Levy's pick of managers has been absolutely disastrous? Apart from Martin Jol, Harry Redknapp, Pochettino, 3 out of 20-some managers, he's only got 3 right.
Yeah. His choice of managers has baffled me pretty much for most of me following Spurs. And it sounds silly. I mean, even Juan de Ramos.
Yeah.
Like what I just never understood that appointment. Like we said, Harry Redknapp, I thought was the right man for the job. Used to working, and the way I always used to word it is Tottenham work on a shoestring budget.
Yeah.
And Harry Redknapp was used to working on a shoestring budget. So he was able to come in and regardless of how much money was given to him, he was able to work wonders with it. Pochettino was exactly the same. It wasn't like Southampton was a financial powerhouse, and I want to say it was somewhere in France, not France, in Spain, that he managed before he came to Southampton. I don't know.
Yeah.
But they weren't a financial powerhouse in
No.
the Spanish league.
Spain, it's Spain.
Espanol.
Espanol. That's where he was.
Yeah,
He went
Espanol.
there
Yeah.
to Southampton. Espanol. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're not going to back him to like throw in hundreds and hundreds of millions because that's not the kind of club they are. They're not a club of that size. I think so. He left there. He went to Southampton, which was a little bit of a step up, but again, Southampton, not a financial Premier League powerhouse. And he was used to working on a tight budget. When he came to Spurs, and I think he was sold a dream at Spurs of come to us and we're going to be getting this shiny new stadium. And it was sold the dream. And I think the dream very quickly turned into a nightmare for him. Well, no, actually not very quickly. I think it gradually turned into a nightmare for him.
It turned into a nightmare, I think, around the Champions League run. That's where it started turning a little bit after that summer when we didn't buy anyone. And that was the summer we should have backed in and backed on. I mean, Boris makes a very good point here. Want to say big up to Catman Jess. Haven't seen you for a long time, Catman Jess. Hope you're doing well. Just big up to he said big up to him. I can't wait for Bidu game. No, neither can I. We're getting ready for it this time next week. We'll be getting ready for it. We'll be getting excited and we're getting pumped for it. I'll be getting so excited. It's Balbo. Here we come. Here we come, Balbo. Oh boy, I can't wait for that. And I'm over on the 9th to the 12th of May. So if you're going to the Palace game, I'm down there. So let me know where I'll let you know where I am. Come and see me if you want to have a crack and meet up with me and have to crack about the game. But nice to see you all. Our Wayborn that says when it comes to picking managers, Levy likes someone like a pick a mix, get an assortment of different things rather than getting the constant things. Exactly. Boris said, and this is a good point. I'll put you on top so nobody can see you, James. No one can see my ugly mutt, but there you go. Everyone see you. Boris says, and the thing is, Poch only got 64 million. Everyone seems to forget we're getting over 100 million each season. He was in charge due to us getting Champions League football and finishing top 4.
Yeah,
he makes a very good point, actually.
Yeah.
Even Conte got us to Champions League football. Let's start with Conte, 198 million. Plus the 19 million he spent in his first transfer window. In that year when Paratici, that was Paratici's first year.
Yeah, first year.
As director of football. Why did it go wrong so quickly under Conte? Was it just the wrong manager at the wrong club, or did you just think he knew what was happening and he just couldn't keep it? Somebody said the first 6 months under Conte was electric.
Yeah, it
was like a mental. Conte Cam was the best thing to watch on YouTube. What do you take from the Conte era?
I think it showed exactly what the football club cared about. And that wasn't winning things.
Yeah.
I think, again, a manager that was half decently backed, but not fully backed. Took a team that was struggling, because we were struggling when he came in. We were struggling, and that first half of season, he really kicked us on, and then in the second season, we held his own, and then
the wheels fell off.
Yeah, then the wheels fell off because I think the wheels fell off because I think he wanted to do so much more, and the board weren't willing to do it.
There seems to be a very thing running through that. It's the board, isn't it? It's Levy.
Yeah.
Again. It really, and I think if people trying to think that we're just trying to pick on Ange, we're not. I'm trying to point a point here that why is he back one manager but not back these? What changed between Conte and Ange Postecoglou? 198 million in the season a bit seems a lot of money, but it's not really when you think about it.
No,
I mean, Mourinho, what was he? A
Mourinho
season and a
was
bit.
6. Yeah, Mourinho. No, yeah, Mourinho was nearly 2 seasons.
Was he?
Oh,
No,
or
I
two
don't
and a
think he
two and a
was.
two and a two and a little bit.
Was he?
Yeah,
I have a
because he
funny
was.
feeling. I have a funny feeling that Mourinho was only a season and a bit. No manager had last the full second season. To Postecoglou did it last year since
Yeah,
Poch. So that maybe you're right. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe someone can let him know in the chat. If you look at Mourinho's record, though, 41 wins and only 23 defeats in all competitions, still
yeah,
decent enough, though. But
yeah.
again,
Still over the 50% mark.
yeah, but not backed again. Now
Yeah,
comes Ange Postecoglou. I mean, he was appointed on the 1st of July 2023. His contract runs onto 2027. He's had 93 matches in total with a points per match at 1.56. His league form, 71 matches in the Premier League, 31 wins, 10 defeats, 31 wins, 30 defeats, 10 draws. He's got points 103, 1.45 per match.
mm.
In his time at Tottenham since 2023 to 2025, he has spent, or Levy has spent, or the club has spent, £447.10 million. They have bought in 42 players in that time period. Now, transfer spend in 23-24 was 272 million. Down the bought in. Now, I couldn't pick everyone. I just bought in the big hitters. Do you know what I mean? The most expensive transfers. So you got Brennan Johnson, top list, 55 million. James Maddison, 46.3 million. Pedro Porro, 40 million. Mickey van de Ven, 40 million. Kulu, 30 million. And Radu Dragosin in the January window, that's what Jan's there, 25 million. So already, this is a manager that, okay, he's been successful everywhere else, but he's not on the Mourinho and Conte level. Absolutely splashing the cash. 24 players bought in. The likes of Vicario. There's some of the list there. So
yeah, just think about that though, Dermot, right?
yeah.
You've got 24 million, 272 million. If we'll round it up a bit, call it 273 million over 24 players. So you work out what so hang on, let me quickly work that out for us. That's 272 million divided by 24. That actually only equates to spending 11 million per player. You tell me what quality. You tell me what quality player you're going to get 11 million for.
You're not going to get a quality player.
No, you're going to get a kid that you're going to have to try and develop and pull forward and basically take time before they become any good. They are those players that are on that list. Don't get me wrong. There are some not young players, but when you look at some of the ages of those players, Brennan Johnson, Kulusevski, Mickey van de Ven, Radu Dragosin, none of these players are over 25.
Yeah, but the established Premier League players, though. Do you know what I mean? That you look,
but they weren't at that time.
No,
we've got to think about it. When they were signed, they weren't established Premier League players.
The point I'm trying to make is the quality of players we bought under Ange was better than some of the quality players that we bought. On the previous, you mean they're better than an Eric Dyer or Sanchez, or I'm sorry to say Lamela. But again, if Mourinho was given that sort of money to spend in the summer transfer window, or a Conte, you would probably get a better quality of players, because
I think
their name and their management name alone would attract the better quality players.
Yeah, so I think that probably the number of players that we would have signed, I think you'd have been barely looking at 10 to 12 players for a 272 million pound spend. Rather than 24, I think that figure would have been half.
Yeah.
And then that's when you look at it and you go, you know what? He's been backed because he's gone out and splashed. And I agree, Wayne, completely overpaid on Johnson and Maddison.
Right. Question: how much would you have paid for Brennan Johnson? Brennan Johnson could have gone, I think, before. I think with Brennan Johnson, could have gone for 30, but because Forest waited, I got to get this right, because there is a reason why he paid 55 million for Brennan Johnson, and I want to get it right. It had something to do with FFP. Forest had to wait, but to a certain time to pay to sell him for a certain amount, and they sold him for 55 million, which got them underneath. He was going. Yeah, Archer's right. Big up to Archer. Big up. Haven't seen you before, so but you're a member, so welcome back. He says that they did. They had a 35 million bid agreed for Johnson. Yeah, but because of FFP, they held out, didn't they? And Spurs came in with 50 million. James Maddison, he's not worth 46 million. And all these figures are off transfer market, by the way. I got all these off transfer market, by the way. So that's where I got all my details from. Overpaid for Johnson and Maddison?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I would have paid, I think 30 to 35 million was a good investment for a player of Johnson's potential. Very, very, very much reminds me of Matisse Tell, a player with bags of potential, and the 30-35 million pound mark would have been about right. James Maddison, I would have probably spent the same on him. I would have probably said about 30 to 35 million. I think Leicester were very good in what they did, in getting a maximum amount of money for a player that turns up and picks and chooses when he plays.
I think, but look, you can look. We did spend money. He was backed, so that's something is back. David Clark said sacking Mourinho and his coaching staff cost Levy north of 30 million, which far exceed any bonuses. I want to say big up to Woodsy Talks Football. Big up Woodsy. I'll be doing well. It says evening all. Hope is well. Hope are well. Big up to Archer as well. It says David Clark. Yes, I know that was the main reason, but the trophy bonus thing was another reason. That is so true. Jazz Fusion, Poch can't come home again. Nothing will change until ownership does, which it will. Bono Glint will be missing at least 4 players. One of them best players was injured when I've injured. We're going to talk about that actually over the weekend. And next week we're going to do a massive build up to the game. Big up to Boris. Conte did bring us amazing moments, especially the Tuchel fight at the end when we ended 2 at Chelsea. What we got here, we have big up to you, David. Big up to Milton as well. Big up, Milton. Hope you're doing well. He says Jose had 1 year and a bit.
Okay, I was wrong then.
1 year and 3 months, I think. Big up to Adam. If Conte had left at the World Cup break, he been remembered totally different. It was clear the club's vision and his were to be different. Big up to you as well. Boris says 64.7 million for Poch, 65 for Jose, 66 for Conte, as he was here for 16 months, 111 million a year for Ange over his 2 years, which says a lot. I mean, you break that down. Thanks, Boris, for breaking it down for us, by the way. But that's just scandalous, isn't it? 65 million for Jose, and that's just think. Big up to Colin. Big up to Tottenham. Big up to Mr. Column. Says, you have spent more than Liverpool City and shows you're doing the United method of pissing money up the wall on average. Me and James went out on the piss and we decided, you know what, we're going to blow it all up the wall. Let's go to the pub and the local strip and joint. What's it called? What's the one called over there? Rhinos, isn't it?
Yeah, spearmint rhinos or peppermint rhinos or whatever it's called.
How do you know that? I don't even know that. How do you know that?
I don't know.
Is that a query? Is that a is that for a late night stream? Overpay for Johnson and Manderson. We've got Archer. I think they did. Boris says if it was FFP and PSR for Friday, it was. I remember that. Column's going for Brendan Johnson is £25 million player, and Max Madders 30 million. Totally agree. Johnson was well overpaid for when 10 million was more. We could have got Gibbs White.
Absolutely.
I mean, I said the other night, Gibbs White run that midfield.
Yeah, he did.
Do you think he's a better player? Do you think, instead of just example, right? We're looking through that list. 46.3 million, right?
Yeah.
Gibbs White instead of James Maddison. Do you think that would have been a better buy?
Yes. 100%. Because Gibbs White gives his all every game.
He does. Brentford up for 35, but needed 50-ish for FFP. So how that's the reason why we paid the biggest thing. So that was his first season. Now this is his transfer spend for this season coming. He spent 175.3 million euro. Now it's more in pounds, of course it is. 18 players bought in. James. Top of that list is Dominic Solanke in 64.3 million.
Yeah.
Archie Gray, next one down, 41.25 million. Wilson Odobart, 29.3 million. Lucas Bergville, which I still now think is a bargain.
That is for bargain of the century, is that one.
10 million we paid for him. And then Antonio Kinski, 16.5 million.
Yeah.
I mean, he has been backed 117 million per transfer window. Has he wasted the money?
I'm going to go again because I did it with the last season, so I'll do it again here.
Do it,
175 million on 18 players gives you an average spend on a player of 9.72 million. Which is even worse than the season before.
Yeah.
So you've gone, whereas player market value is going up, and on average he's spending less per player. So again, apart from Lucas Bergvall and Archie Gray, to me, I think massively overpaid for Dominic Solanke.
Yeah, we did.
I think Archie Gray was slightly overpaid, but I understood why we overpaid it because we were fighting off other clubs. Wilson Odobert, my jury's still out on Wilson Odobert. I love
Odobert.
I think he's a good player, but whether or not he's going to be a good player for us is yet to be decided on my front because of his injuries that he's had. I think Lucas Bergvall, absolutely phenomenal signing. And I actually liked the signing of Antonin Kaninski.
I do,
because I think he has all the ability to be a top quality goalkeeper. I just wish he'd be given a bit more game time.
It's something we might do and big up with you and Colin, where we might actually do a goalkeeper on Vicario and Kinski. And actually ask the question, are they the keepers going forward? We are going to do a bit of a pre-match on Big Up this week. I think you're going to join us for that, James, if you can. We're going to sort of deep dive into the mistakes at Forest and where we can improve for the game on Sunday. Look, we're not going to beat Liverpool. I have no doubt about that. Only the delusional person would think we're going to beat Liverpool. And I do. I think we're going to win 2-0.
I am delusional, Ben. I'm going 2-0 to Spurs.
Yeah, well, you're going with me, me on that delusional train. Pick up the column. It says English club player tax on Tom. Yeah, Tom. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But you look at those 5 players there as well, Dermo, that we've got up there, and excuse me. Apart from Dominic Solanke, every single one of those players 22 and under.
Yeah.
So that is very good investments for the future. But if you are never going to continue investing and putting players into a team that have the experience to match the youth and to help guide them along, you're never going to create a team. And then all that happens is when these players, very much like what happened with Gareth Bale,
Yeah.
when those players become world class, the big clubs come sniffing and we're like, okay, we want Lucas Bergvall. We'll give you 80, 90 million. And again, because of our chairman and how he is with money, he is not going to turn that down. Because all he's seen there is, okay, they're offering me 80 million for somebody who I only spent 10 million. That's 70 million pound, 70 million in pure profit. I'll take the 70 million and then we'll do that. And that's been, I think, the case with quite a lot of our transfers, that we will buy young players on the cheap, we'll develop them, and then we try to sell them on. I mean, I just think of some of our youth academy players at the moment and some of the valuations that are being touted for them players. It's like, it's crazy town. I mean, Mikey Moore, transfer market value of somewhere region of about 30 to 40 million. Jamie Donnelly, transfer market of 20 to 30 million. And these are young players that are only going to get better. And Jamie Donnelly is absolutely flying for Leyton Orient at a minute. He is scoring for fun. And
I mean, can I just add something there? You were talking about player prices going up, right?
Yeah.
In the 2014-15 season, in the summer window only, right, we spent 48.48 million pounds on players. Now, them players include Ben Davis for 12.65 million. I mean, Frazio, God knows whatever happened to him. 10 million were paid for him.
Yeah.
Benjamin Stambuli, 5.9 million. Michael Vaughan, the goalkeeper, 5.7 million. Eric Dyer, I mean, we paid him we paid Sporting Lisbon 5 million for him.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's unreal. You do that. That's 2014-2015 season, right? And then you go up to 23-24. We 24? No, 24-25 season. Sorry,
24-25 season. Yeah.
And then you look at the prices, like 64 million for Dominic Solanke. Look, we spent over 175 million. So between 14 and 15, the transfer market's just gone that way.
Yeah.
It's gone absolutely scandalous. It's gone scandalous. And Tottenham haven't matched that.
No.
Pardon me. They haven't matched it. They haven't matched the transfer market. He's still back at 2014-2015 season spending money.
Yeah, he is.
I want to say big up to. I was going to get to you. Sorry, Steve. I was in a row there. Sorry, man. Big up. It says, "Hey buddies, hope you guys are having a great stream." Yeah, we're trying to have a great stream, but I think I've just depressed the James now into wanted to go and find a bottle of whiskey after watching these transfers and how badly every manager hasn't been back. So, but I hope you're doing well. Do you want to say anything to our American cousin?
Big up, Steve. How you doing, my man? Hope you are well and having a grand day over there. But all's good here, and yeah, I'm definitely probably going to have a couple of whiskies after this one, and that's a couple of bottles of whiskies, not just a couple of whiskies.
I was on my 5th when I was putting this together. Believe me, I went through 6 bottles of whiskey. So you're now admitting that Spurs are no better than the Academy Player League. I think this is to you from David James. So he says you're now admitting that Spurs is no better than an Academy Player Premier League club.
Premier League club. No, I'm not admitting that we're no better than a Premier League club, but I think that our academy is probably one of the best academies in the Premier League. But our academy has been too long used as a breeding ground for selling players to put money into the club that's not reinvested. That's what I mean by it, David.
Yeah. Dan, big up Steve O. Steve says the cost of winning continues to rise every season, and that's reflected in transfer costs. But that's true. But Tottenham haven't followed that trajectory.
That
if you know
trend.
what I mean.
Yeah.
They haven't. They've stayed on this sort of, we can't go over this budget. Look at Aston Villa. They're spending 95. They're spending up to nearly 100% of their FFP. Where are they?
Yeah.
And then FA Cup semi-final. They were in the quarterfinals of the Champions League.
Yeah. And look at where they are in the table.
To win, you have to spend money to be successful.
And what they'll see is with Aston Villa as well, is what they'll see is that, okay, so we've spent this money we've outlaid this money, but because we've outlaid it, the financial benefit that we're going to get when it comes back, when we continue to get Champions League football, we've done a good Champions League run, we've reached the FA Cup semi-final, and they're progressing, and they're matching their progression with their spends. So yes, it's like age-old saying, isn't it? You've got to speculate to accumulate. And that is what the Manchester City, well, maybe not Manchester United recently, because like Colm said, they've been pissing money up the wall on bang average players. But okay, we'll go with Newcastle, Manchester City, with you, even Arsenal. Arsenal, when they moved into the Emirates, they had hit a blip in how they were playing because they couldn't spend the money because they were paying back the Emirates. But as soon as they'd got control of their finances a little bit more, they started spending again. And they've basically, it pains me to say that whereas we were on top, we were the best team in North London by league form and league positioning.
They've taken a massive march on us. Yeah, they've taken a hell of a march on us.
Yeah. And because they are willing to spend the money. Because they know by speculating with what they're spending, they're going to get back on prize money and TV revenue and things like that. And it's also going to put more bums on seats in the stadium week in, week out.
I was looking back, right, in transfer market. Did you know we've bought 150 players? Well, this is like of records, right? Jurgen Klinsmann joined Tottenham. Now, Jurgen Klinsmann, World Cup winner, World Cup striker, probably the best in the world. Yeah. You ready for his transfer fee?
Let me have a guess.
Yeah.
About 4.5 million?
2.75 million.
Wow. Wow, and I thought I were over with 4.5, but I didn't think I was that far over.
We did not spend any more money over than that until 07 when we bought Gilberto. Do you remember him, the left back?
Oh God, yeah.
We spent 2.8 million on him, and on Kranjčar, 10. David Janela cost 2.85. Popescu cost 2.9 million. And it just goes up and up. I mean, we paid 3.7 million for Dimitrescu.
Dimitrescu, yeah.
Gordon Jury spent 3.3 million on him from Chelsea. Danny Murphy, we paid 3.2 million for him from Charlton. I mean, it's unreal. And then you go back then to the first page, which is now more up to date, right?
Yeah.
We paid 25 million for Emerson Royale. We are going to pay 25 million for Danso because he is coming.
Yeah. That's a good buy. Probably a slight overspend, but only slight. I think 20 million would be enough to have secured him. But
we paid 42 million for Sanchez.
Davinson Sanchez.
Yeah, 42 million.
I think he got the shit end of the stick though at Spurs. I really do think
Eric Dyer next year.
Yeah, I think Davinson Sanchez. Me personally, if I'd have had a choice, Davinson Sanchez or Eric Dyer going 5-6 years ago, I'd have taken kick Eric Dyer out of the club every day at week and keep Sanchez. I just think Sanchez was made the scapegoat of that defence for so long. And then when Toby and Jan came in, he was always the understudy.
Yeah, he was.
And And then you could understand why he knew he was never going to break that back line up.
No.
And the only way he was going to get game time was probably cup competitions, off the bench. He wasn't going to be a first team starter. And I think he basically had enough. He thought, I'm not warming the bench no more. And I tip my hat to him because at least he was honest about it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here. And whereas some players could have quite easily, like Eric Dyer, sit there, collect his money. I'm not going nowhere, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to sit here and collect my money. I know I'm not going to be a first team player and I'm not going to start. And maybe when I do start, I might give you half-hearted an attempt. But Davinson Sanchez, when he played for us, he always did his best. But when he knew he weren't going to break that line up, and he knew he weren't going to be first team, and he knew his game time was suffering, he was like, I'm done. I can't do this no more. I'd sooner sell me to somebody.
Mm.
And the problem with Davinson Sanchez is because he'd not been given the game time, his transfer value had plummeted. So when we did sell him to Galatasaray, we got peanuts for him.
Yeah. I mean, Tottenham have always been that sort of club where we bought Paul Gascoigne, didn't we? For sort of, he become record holder. I mean, before we bought, I mean, it says here, right? Record, how is it? Record arrivals into Tottenham Hotspur. So I can get that up. Transfer market's really great for this information, right?
Yeah.
Work. Yeah, come on. You worked for me earlier. Now you're not working for me. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, 64.3 million.
Yeah.
I got some news. I'm not sure. If this is then, if I can use this, then this will sort of tell us what's happening. I'm waiting to get the okay. But I'll quickly go on to what I'm saying. I'm getting typed back. Oh, I can. Oh, I can. Right, okay. This is on Ange Postecoglou, by the way.
Okay.
This
breaking news.
How quickly this show can start on one thing and then suddenly turn into something else. Right? So Yokohama F Mariners have listed Ange Postecoglou as a target in the search for a new head coach and are preparing to enter into talks with him. That is the latest from our source. It's just dropped. Now, what do you think to that? I will put it going across the bottom of the screen, by the way. Does that sort of tell you what we already knew?
Yeah. I hope he likes Japanese food.
Well, he's managed there before, hasn't he?
He has, yeah. And I think he did well over.
Before. Yeah.
And why wouldn't they want him back because of the success that he delivered there? So why not? See you later, Ange. Enjoy your trip.
Yeah. No, is it surprising?
No. It wouldn't surprise me, but to be honest, I wouldn't also be surprised if Celtic don't look at him again.
I want him back at Celtic, by the way.
You just can't win.
I'm a Celtic fan. I support Celtic, so it's a win-win for me.
I'm surprised that Celtic aren't looking at him again. Because it was very successful there. But yeah, I mean,
yeah,
it doesn't surprise me that someone like Yokohama Marinos are looking at him again. Not at all. Like I said, why wouldn't they?
I have got another bit of news, but I'm not sure I can use it yet. It is about defenders. That's all I'm going to say.
What surprises me is that.
Oh, I can. Okay.
That it's that that it's public, but it's out there. That it's it might not be out there yet. It is now. So yeah, it surprises me, but it's there or thereabouts. I thought would have probably waited until the end of the season, because I think if they're looking at him now, then surely to God there is a possibility they might have to pay some kind of compensation.
Yeah, I think so. Also, Tottenham are assessing their defensive options ahead of a summer transfer window, with reports suggesting that a swap deal between Rudy Draxler, who we did say wasn't going anywhere because he's injured, by the way, so that's totally cocked up what we just said, and also AC Milan are for Ingo Timoni.
I would take that.
I've just seen something else just dropped, and I know I'm going to ask the question. He's not going to tell me. I love this, right? He sends you something, right? I know I have to ask him the same question. I wish he just put in there, you can use this, saves me asking.
Yeah.
But sorry, I'm just
that's okay. So yeah, I mean, you asked the question. I think I would definitely take. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Radu Dragusin. I think he's a good. I think he's a good player. I think he's a good defender.
By the way.
But I would definitely take Tomori over Dragusin. How likely are they going to want to do a swap deal, though? It doesn't make much sense why they would get rid of a fit player and take a crocked one. That's what doesn't make much sense to me on that one.
And this is how much whoever comes in has got to spend. Now, we can leave this up to our own imagination, because he has the answer. He hasn't answered my second question. So we're going to have to put hypothetically. But a 300 million war chest is available for whoever is in charge for the summer window.
Yeah, that's about what I'm hearing.
Pardon?
It's about what I'm hearing. It's about roughly what the figures, because I was doing some number crunching, and with regards to our PSR and financial fair play, I got it slightly more. I got it around about the £400 million mark, but that would take us pretty much to our maximum allowance. So 300 million gives a little bit of wiggle room. So it's I can get behind that.
Oh, if you are watching, and I know he is, can I use that? Can I say who it is? Because hypothetically, I'm waiting for a go ahead, but that's shocking. Hello, I'm getting a. I like this. Tequila used to put to him, "Oi, oi." It was really funny. I'm typing. Look, 300 million. Whoever comes in, that's a good war chest, by the way. 300 million to spend is that.
As long as it's used sensibly,
right?
Don't get 300 million and buy 30 players.
Right.
Get 300 million and buy 5.
This is a Daniel Levy war chest to spend. I know you're about to fall off your chair in a minute, but
yeah, you better call me an ambulance.
But it says, you can. You can. It could be. I hope I'm okay to use the rest of what he's put, and if I'm not, I apologize. So I'm going to say it. Can I say the rest of it, or do I have to keep that quiet? He is watching, by the way. But I don't want to say the second bit because okay, I'm okay to use it. Okay. It is a Daniel Levy, but it could be more if the takeover has been completed by the window. So you're looking at 300 million plus when the takeover happens, you're looking at an extra 300-400 million.
Yeah, because technically when new owners come in, they are entitled to put money into the club, which doesn't Because that's how Man City are trying to get out of their sticky situation they put themselves in, isn't it? The same
Yeah,
that
so you're
the
looking
board.
around.
If you say 700 million, if you say 700 million spend in total this summer, and as long as like it still stands, as long as it's used sensibly,
Right.
not 70 players all costing £10 million each,
Yeah.
but
look.
what's
I want
David
you to
saying?
answer this because I'm sick of answering these sort of things.
Until
So
I hear
you
from
know our
tier one.
sources.
Until I hear from
Just
tier one
I know
football
at the
journalists
top
that
of it
Levy
is
is
fine.
part of our
Right.
club, I take any stories about war chess, especially if it's supposed to be Levy spending it, as bullshit. Right,
Can
David,
I
look.
Can I just when I'm saying this, James? Right, you know our source very well.
Yes, I do.
You know who he is. You've talked to him.
I do.
You've talked. Can you please just put this to bed? Because I'm sick of sort of defending myself in this. So I'm gonna let you do it.
So look, David, I appreciate where you're coming from, and you're saying that we're not tier one football journalists. We're not tier one football journalists, but we have connections and we have sources that work within the football industry and close with football clubs, and the information that we get given, we are not just going to spout just for the sake of spouting it for the sake of an extra view or an extra like or an extra subscribe. We try to give you the facts as we know it and as we are being told it. We look, no less than a week ago, we broke the news regarding Scott Munn and Joanne Lang. We broke that. That wasn't even mainstream media were picking it up. And then a week later, mainstream media are now starting to catch on that this is what situation is happening with regards to Scott Munn and Joanne Lang. If you do not think that we're being honest, tell us you don't think we're being honest. But as what I'm telling you is we are being 100% genuine, and we will not give information that we do not think is 100% genuine. If we have doubts, if we have doubts, we're just not going to tell you.
Always say it's rumors, like I did earlier. Like I did earlier when I said rumors about something we talked about and said this is rumors. Now I've got a bit more on it. The latest that I was given is 300 million on the Levy. If the new owners come in and pump money into the club, it could be a range between 300 to 500 million, depending on what they do. Look, David, you've known me long enough and this channel long enough. I'm sick and having to defend myself and the channel's integrity, where we were the first to break Harry Kane going. We were the first. We've been breaking news for nearly 3 years, and we've been spot on with the news. We break only anything that we know it's work. We don't do it for clickbait. I could do it clickbait if I wanted to. I could have done a fancy thumbnail and done a 10-minute video on Ange going to Japan. But I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that because I don't want to go down that road. I get news from my person that I trust with my life, and he gives it to me. I have a laugh with him. Can I use it? And there's a lot of stuff I can't use. And there's a lot of stuff that I know that I want to tell you guys. I can't tell you because I would get me into trouble, him into trouble. Right.
I get information given on daily basis where I wish I could tell you.
Yeah,
I wish I could tell you. I wish I could. No, I'm not having to go at David.
I'm just sick. We're sick of it, aren't we? We're just sick to death of being poked at. We clickbait, and we don't. I got it in one of the comments the other day. Somebody accused me of clickbaiting. Well, look at my thumbnails. They're not clickbait thumbnails.
No.
Do you know what I mean? If I wanted to clickbait, I would pay somebody to do my thumbnails, do me clickbait thumbnails. I don't clickbait. I just give facts. I'm like Ange Postecoglou. I talk facts. I don't bullshit. I talk facts. Can I just move on for that? But I get where you're coming from, David. But I want to move on very quickly on this other bit. He has come back. He says, I will make this clear. The war chest of throne will be for the season and not just the summer window. However, if new owners come in before the window opens, it could be much more for both summer and winter. So, look, I think 150 for the summer, 150 for the winter. It's not an awful lot of money when you put it into the big scheme of things.
No.
Just we'll get to the other cat. David has got back to us, by the way. He says, you don't need to defend yourselves. Well, fair enough. Thank you for that, David. It's very kind of you. We just went on a passionate defense, but thank you for that. It's very kind of you. I like David. Me and David have this love-hate relationship in the chat. I love David a bits, really, because he does bring some really good stuff in. But he knows how to push my buttons. To be fair to you, David, you do know you're a bugger, but you do know. But look, pick up a membership. I want to get you on a member show because I love to talk to you, man. Don't need friends, so but Levy is not going to spend 300 million in 1 million. Well, we just clarified that, by the way, because that would mean that some players bought and would smash Levy's race structure. Well, look, I know that the takeover is going to will happen before the season starts. Now, we're all hoping it happens before the window. I don't know what you're hearing, but I'm hoping it's before the window starts. I don't know what you're hearing. That maybe you can tell me off screen what you've heard.
Yeah.
Big up stateside beer, Stevie. So you guys don't need to defend yourselves. I believe in the contacts associated with our network is legit contacts. Thank you, Steve. Thank you so much, man. Really kind. We've got Edem. The only thing about timing wise, it's Premier League could take 3-6 months to referee. Yeah, that's true. That is very true. But I wonder if that will be done very quickly, though. I wonder if that will be pushed through, Ed. But I will ask the question. Actually, I tell you what I do. I'm talking to my source. Hopefully over the weekend, I'll get clarification for that, you Ed. All right, and I will bring it in. Jazz Fusion. Also, I'll let you read this one out, James. Go on. I'll let you read that. Go on, man.
Have you broken anything other than a takeover, a manager gone at year end? Only asking because if that's all you're free to say, in effect, I am left stagnated for the minute. No, we broke the Scott Munn and Joanne Lang story, which, like I said, when I was just explaining the it's only just recently started to be picked up by mainstream media. I know Dermo broke the fact that Harry Kane was going before he even was sold. And yes, we have mentioned about the takeover as much as we physically can mention about the takeover. And I don't think we broke the manager gone at year end. I think that's just our speculation about the manager gone at year end. And we've sort of vetoed news that has come to us and tried to be as honest as we can about what we believe is going to happen with Ange. My source is saying that we are not going to sack him if he loses the Europa League semi-final because there's no point, because there's so few games left after that. So it's not that we're sort of saying that we broke that he's going at the end of the year, because I think that's not really anything new. Yeah, that's just basically guaranteed. And even mainstream media have been saying that for the last few weeks, that certainly before the Frankfurt game, if we didn't win the Frankfurt, if we didn't get through against Frankfurt, it'd be gone. And then we beat that, and then it dies down a little bit. We then lose to Notts Forest, and then the rumour that it then starts up. I mean, I read the news. I am a Spurs fan, and I read the news myself. I read rumours and opinions on numerous websites, and I try to read between the lines on a lot of them. And what I find is that certainly regarding the Postecoglou sack is you get, and they are very clickbaited titles of the articles. Postecoglou's sack decision made. So you go on there to read that. You think, oh, okay, is this coming from a source? Is this coming from what's this article about? And you go on to read it, and basically it's someone's opinion on the fact that they believe that Postecoglou will be gone at the end of the season, or they believe that Postecoglou will be gone at the end of next week. So you've got to be careful about what you which is why I don't. No, I agree. We are very careful. So, which is why I could read everything and say, "Oh, right, well, this is breaking news. Postecoglou is going to be gone next week." And then when he's not gone next week, who looks like a tit?
Yeah, I mean, look, just this is it. Just read. I mean, this is our sort of, what would you call it? There's a word for it. Our history, but you know what I'm getting at. Our
sort of. Our evidence to back up what we're saying when we break things.
Yeah.
So Harry Kane going out, Ange coming in, Arnslot going to Liverpool, Van de Ven, Romero wanting out, Dragerson, Vicario, and Kinski all broke on this channel. So it's.
I get what Jazz is saying. He says, Colin, I was referring to current events. Yeah. I mean, big up to David Clark. Says, I want both. He did say, David Clark says, I want to be wrong, and when I am, I will praise your inside knowledge and your source. But in the meantime, and that's fair enough. I respect that. I totally respect that. I mean, Colin says, but the evidence of correct. I'll let you read this out because my dyslexia.
So,
I'll let you read.
No, it's fine.
This is what Jad said, so I'll let you read what Jad says.
Just saying, Coleman was referring to current events, nothing previous, and Coleman replies, but the evidence of correct respondents and accuracy is there already. Yes, we won't always get everything right, but I would say we're about 90% of what we get is correct. So I think what Coleman's saying there, and I don't want to cause an argument, or I don't want people to argue in the chat. I don't think our channel is about that. What I think is basically saying is when we say things, we are 90% sure that what we're telling you is the truth because of the sources that we have, the connections that we have in the game. They are things, and like Jazz, I would love to be able to sit down and talk to you and tell you every bit of information I'm sitting on, but until I'm told that I can tell you these things. My hands are tied, and as a Spurs fan, I'm as frustrated as you are, and I'm as frustrated as David is, because it's like I want to be able to share the news that I know that's coming.
Yeah, he says, and bless him, he says, I'm not knocking you. I'm not knocking them. So I'm just merely trying to keep up. I'm not trying to demean or disagrees of optimism. So we're not. We know that. I tell you one thing though. I want to add something on this, right? And I really mean this, right? When I got, it was by luck I got our source. Absolutely by luck. It just landed in my lap. He started giving me information by watching the show. That's how it happened. He got me information, sent me an email, and it was right. I want to give you the best news we can get. And Jazz, you've been with this channel a long time. So have you, David, Colin as well. People in the chat that have known me for nearly 4 years this August. We're be 4 years this August, so we are going to do a bit of a party stream this August. We're going to have a bit of a party. We're 4. We're getting our big pants on now.
Yep.
We're getting our big pants. Colin does reply 100% Jazz. I'm not trying to start, but I see your point of view. I see your point overview, and I do too. But we have a right as a sports. Look, we're not just a YouTube channel. We're a sports network. Our job is as YouTubers and as content creators and as Spurs Spurs content creators is to give you guys the latest news on Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. If it's right or wrong, I get given news and I get told you can use this. I'm going to tell you, it's down to you if you believe it or not. If you don't believe it, it doesn't bother me. Because if it's right, then I've sort of proven you wrong in a nice way. And you can then do, you know what? I can trust this channel.
Yeah.
We've never, ever done anything to mislead you or to mislay any information for clickbait in any way, shape, or form. Because the idea of what we do is to give you the information you guys need. It's to give you the information that you guys want. And that's our job as YouTube as creators. We're sport. You could say we're football correspondents on YouTube, rarely in a way.
Yeah.
That's our and it's because of you guys we do it. It's because of you, Jazz, and Em, and people in chat. That's why we do this, and we love doing it. And I love breaking the news story. I get the biggest buzz breaking the news, like Scott Munn and Johan Langrock. You were buzzing.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
were buzzing. You got off that stream, and I could see you were buzzing.
Yeah, yeah.
And I can't wait to the transfer window this summer, right? And we got breaking news. We're getting this player. We were doing the stream. This is a funny story, right? And we were doing the stream. Me and Tequila were doing the stream, and it broke that we bought Dominic Solanke.
Yeah.
Well, you wanted to see the two. No, you expect the Spurs fans, we'd be, yeah, we bought Solanke, come on, and all this. No, we were the most two depressed Spurs fans. me and Tequila just sat there and went, oh, okay. We were so underwhelmed by and then poor old Boris was in the chat, right, bigging them up, going, yeah, you bought a big play. Me and Tequila go, yeah, we want to be proved wrong, but we're not really over the moon with the transfer, by the way.
Yeah.
Look, I want to start the show as we finished it. Did Levy miss a trick? I know we got slightly sidetracked. I got towed by my source. I got towed off by my source, by the way. He's telling me off.
What, for not doing your job?
Don't get too emotional. Don't get too emotional. But I do, because I protect this channel. By the way, guys, we are 4 years old in August. I want you to come up with an idea. This is down to you guys. How do we celebrate our 4th birthday? How do we as a channel celebrate our 4th birthday? Big up to Daily. See, we welcome all fans in here, by the way. Welcome. I don't care if you're a Chelsea fan, an Arsenal fan, or look, we have Newcastle fans come in here, for Christ's sake. Welcome to the channel. As long as you're respectful and you're quite like banter and the banter's fair, but you like talking football, then you're all welcome. Daily CFS Focus. Big up, sir. Hope you're doing well. We are starting a new podcast in the summer, and we are looking for a Chelsea fan. So get in touch if you want to join our Premier League podcast. We need the Chelsea point of view just to keep it entertaining.
Yeah.
He said, well, that's what my channel is all about. Well, welcome. Let us know. Get in touch with me and let us know about the podcast if you want to join our Premier League podcast. It would be great to do, and we'll get you on for the Chelsea before the end of the season, and we'll discuss our seasons and we'll banter each other, have a bit of a laugh. Just on Chelsea, White here, we might as well talk about them. I love his views on it. Do you think it's been a good season for Chelsea, or do you think they've underachieved a little bit?
Do you know what? I think they've sort of gone off the boil a little bit, because I was sort of like November, December time. I was like, you know what, Chelsea I think they've turned a corner here, and I think they're going to challenge, and they've just sort of went off the boil a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened, and they seem to have taken a step backwards, or a couple of steps backwards, and the slipping, making silly. I'm one to say making silly mistakes and losing silly games. I mean, fuck, we've lost probably 10 silly games this season, let alone just 2 or 3. But yeah, I think I don't know. I think it's been a good transitional season for them. I expect them to be a lot stronger again next year.
I think Jazz hits the nail in the head. For a team without a top striker, they've done very well.
Yeah.
To be fair.
Yeah.
A quick question on Levy, and you look at he's come in, so we might as well have him to mix. Todd Bowley, You look at the Aston Villa chairman, what they're doing. You look at, sorry, Colin, the Glazers, how they've ruined the institution completely. Is everyone? Who would you prefer as chairman?
Who would I prefer?
Yeah, hang on. Hear me. You got three choices, right? You got Todd Bowley. I've just seen when he's just put Todd out, hate him. Colin just put F the Glazers. Right. You got Todd Barley, whatever his name is. Wherever his name is. I like to spend rakes of money. The Glazers or Daniel Levy.
Jesus Christ.
And that's for the chat as well, by the way. Who would you prefer as owner? The Glazers? Tom, is it Tom, what's his name at Chelsea?
Todd Bowley.
Todd Bowley or Daniel Levy?
Yeah.
Jazz just put a meteor.
I can't believe what I'm going to say is I would take Daniel Levy.
I think I know what you're going to say.
I would take Daniel Levy over them for it too. Yeah, because at least he improves the club infrastructure
and hires very good tea ladies.
Yeah, I can't believe I'm saying that. I cannot believe I'm choosing. I can't believe I'm choosing Daniel Levy as a chairman.
I watched the video on how the Glazers took over Man United, and it was absolutely sickening.
No. What you watched there was a submarine diving.
Yeah, but seriously though, it was sickening how they took the club over. Actually,
yeah,
it really was. And you look at Todd, but I can't even say his name. Sorry,
Todd Bowley.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. And you look at how he's come in doing the Glazers style, and he's totally effed Chelsea.
He's overspending, and I don't think he realizes what he's doing.
It's going to come back and bite them in the arse, you know.
Yeah. I'd love to know what CFFC Daily, who he would take as a chairman.
Yeah. I love Woodsy says Bowley is great at finding loopholes. Maybe Man City. Look, Man City thing very quickly for finish. Too quick. I want to finish on the Man City point, but I want to finish on what the show is about. Did Levy miss the trick? With all the managers we've seen, with all the transfer budgets we've seen, the managers we've had since Pochettino, which manager did he really miss a trick with?
Jose Mourinho.
Do you know what? I don't know why I'm going to say this, but I disagree. I say he really missed a trick with Pochettino after the Champions League final.
Oh yeah, I mean, definitely did. But he took Jose Mourinho on to win things, and it didn't work. And I just think that he thought he was going to be the man to change Daniel Levy was going to be the man to change Jose Mourinho. And what I think the reason why I think he missed a trick more than Pochettino was he should have realised he could never change Jose Mourinho. No one changes Jose. No, they don't call him the special one. And I think he should have made him. He should have made him special at Spurs. Yeah. But instead, what he did is a wedge got drove between them, and rather than trying to mend the wedge, they turned it into a void, and it just disintegrated and it exploded in the most epic way. But no, I do. If I was to put it in order, I would say for me, I'd say Mourinho was the biggest mistake. Pochettino was the second biggest mistake. Conte would be the third biggest mistake, and Postecoglou the fourth biggest mistake, and Nuno the fifth biggest mistake. Because I'm in total agreement with you. Nuno was not the right. It took too long to get him in.
Yeah.
And when we got him, it was such an underwhelming announcement that we'd got Nuno. I was like, "What, really?" Because
Okay.
of all the managers that we were during that time, all the managers that we were linked to, and every one of them excited me. And then all of a sudden, oh, Nuno has been named Spurs manager. I'm like, oh wow, that's like great.
If you're looking ahead to next season,
Yes,
while I did mention Man City, and it wasn't what people thought I was going to mention about, considering I've just got bollocked on the other monitor. But you look at Man City, you look at Arsenal, you look at Chelsea, you look at probably Aston Villa, you look at Newcastle, you look at us. Is the Premier League going to be tighter next season with the likes of Man City probably spending more on the Pep to rejuvenate the team that make them winners again? Because they're not going to take this season lying down. Pep's not going to take. He's really is going to rejuvenate Man City next season. Man United will want to push on the Amarin during the summer as well and get players in to get the players he wants. Yeah. We don't know what's happening with us, especially with the takeover and the manager. So I don't know what will happen to us, but I'm hoping we're up there and thereabouts. It's top four more difficult to get because you're going to have the likes of Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City, Man United, Villa, Newcastle, Chelsea. I hate to say it. And then us. So that's 8 teams vying for possibly 5 places for the Champions League.
5 places, yeah.
And then the rest for the Europa League. And so is it an important summer that we have to throw caution to the wind? Because Man City are going to do it. Man United are going to do it. Liverpool are really going to do it, by the way, as well.
Yeah.
Chelsea are going to spend more money than they've got sense. Aston Villa are going to probably spend more money than they've got sense. Where are we going with it for next season? And that's what I was going to ask. I understand I understand this is to the person I'm talking to. I get what you're saying, but I wasn't going down that. I was, but you changed my mind, so that's why I changed my question. Thank you.
If we do not go big in the summer, we are in very great danger of being a Spurs team of the mid-90s.
Yeah.
Again, of mid-table mediocrity and not doing anything and basically being stuck in a rut. And I think if we need to go big and we need to match some of the bigger clubs and go bigger than them. The issue that I think a lot of it does hinge on whether or not we win the Europa League. I think being able to offer Champions League football will be a big pull to players and players that will want to come. And I think if we get the right manager in, and I say if we get the right manager in, because like we've discussed tonight, why would you, if we get it wrong again, it's gonna take even longer.
Yeah.
Oh, what's Chelsea saying?
I agree. He just want to know. He wants to ask the question about the streams. I agree with you. Jazz Fusion says no Europa limits United and Spurs unless one wins it. I think it's going to be United Spurs final, and I think it's really is going to be. It's going to be so. Look, we are going to do. I want to do a stream in this, and I actually, well, I leave it to the next stream. But the next stream that me and James will probably do is round the build up to the Europa League, but it's finished 17th and getting into the Champions League. Are you comfortable with that as a Spurs fan?
No, I'm not comfortable with it as a Spurs fan. Will I take it? Absolutely.
Yeah, of course we will. Are you comfortable?
I'm not comfortable.
So
no.
Should the winners of the Europa League just be the winners of the Europa League? Look, it's another question for a stream, and I think it's worth doing it. Maybe in the summer as well. Has do know is the competition's a Super League in disguise, but that's another thing. James, thank you so much for joining me. Had another blast again. I really loved the show. It's been a good show. Hope everyone's enjoyed it. We've had some good numbers in tonight, actually. People watching this, some peaks and bumps. Where can people find you, sir? I do need to send you over the link for our X account. I'll do that tonight, actually. But you will answer people in the comment section and things like that.
Yeah,
I'll
absolutely.
add you into the YouTube channel as well, so you can.
Yeah. So by all means, send us a message on videos. Send us a message on the chats. I do try to keep an eye. I'll be honest with you. I need to get a new laptop. Is what I need.
Yeah.
I do a lot of this stream on my tablet, which is why sometimes when I laugh, my camera shakes. It's because the sofa seat shakes or it's on my knee. I do need to get myself a new laptop. So it's I do try to keep an eye on the chat, is what I'm saying. I tend to have the stream open on my phone as well, but muted. But when I'm using when I'm getting information while we're on the stream, it's hard to keep it open and we're looking at all the chat. But yeah, by all means, send me a message on the chat. I will. Chelsea, Daily CFC Focus needs to ask how you do overlays.
They're made for us. We have somebody that helps me do them. I don't do what I'll be honest with you. The intro and everything is made for me by a very good friend of mine. Your cousin, actually. Does all our tech work. Colin. He does all my overlays, and I do the thumbnails myself because I use Canva, but he does all the overlays and everything like that. So Colin does all that work. So and yeah, and Steve's got a new intro as well. So I hope you like your intro, Steve. But yeah, we are. I tell you where I am tomorrow night. I'm on the Man United channel tomorrow night.
Ooh.
I'm hosting the Man United channel. I'm hosting the Man United channel tomorrow night because I have to. Because I promised Colin I would. I am hosting MUFC Spotlight tomorrow night, guys. If you want to come over, I am going to do a pre-match build up to Man United's game over the weekend. I might be doing it with Kevin, or I might be doing it solo. But Dermatron doing the Man United show should be interesting. I'm going to have to be really serious. Do you know that, James? I'm going to have to be absolutely serious doing that show. But yeah,
I might tune into that one and just give you some grief.
Thank you. I know you will. I promised Colin I'll do it for him because he's working nights all week. So I promised him I'll help him out. So me and Kev are doing that tomorrow night. Me and Philip are back on Saturday at 5 with our politics show on Dermot's Democratic Rant. We're back on Saturday night with the Tottenham pre-match show where me and James, and I think me and James, I don't know if
Steve joining us Saturday.
Steve. Yeah, well, if Steve's joining us, I mean, I have to do it 10 o'clock. I know Steve's doing at midday. I'm on that. 5 o'clock, we've got the political show. 8 o'clock, we've got the build-up show, and then Steve is doing his MLS watch along for the MLS, which is really good to watch, by the way. You should watch that. It's really good. Some of the stats is good over there. And then Sunday is game day.
Yeah.
And game day is changing, guys. We're starting our own little build-up show. We're going to start an hour before kickoff. Then I'm gonna bugger off and let the person continue it. And then I'm going to start the watch along, and then you all come and join me for the watch along, and then we've got final score. So it's all changing. We're going to do that. But yeah, thank you for watching, James. Thank you as always. It's been a pleasure and an honor.
Yep.
Absolutely love doing shows. Can't wait to do some with Steve on Friday. We may even do it at 11 o'clock Friday, so we can get Steve involved as well if Steve's about. For the we might do something. What am I doing Friday? Tomorrow's Friday, isn't it? Tomorrow Friday?
Yeah, tomorrow's Friday, yeah.
Tomorrow Friday.
Yeah. Thursday today. Only reason why I know it's Friday tomorrow because I'm off work.
All right. Okay, well, I need to talk to you tomorrow. You may need to do some pre-records tomorrow. Need to do predicted lineups and that tomorrow, so we will got that out. Guys, thank you so much. We'll speak to you later, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Lanes are far and wide, with the pride of the fight. On this journey we'll